Hey, what's up, guys? Little Man with a Big Opinion here. So, one of the things with prepping is trying to be as informed as you possibly can. And I think it is very important to know what's going on locally because that affects you the most. I think it's also really important to know what's going on within your country and, in some cases, the world. Without getting too deep into politics, I tend to, scroll through news stories while I'm donating plasma because I have roughly an hour on Tuesday and Thursday that I'm stuck in a chair. I can't really do anything else. So it's either read a book, watch some sort of movie or YouTube video, or catch up on news stuff. So, if you like it when I keep you informed, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoy the content, leave your comments down below, and share it with your friends and family because that's how we grow the channel. Whether you like it or not, the war that's been going on between Ukraine and Russia, while it is somewhat of a regional issue, it has global ramifications. And the effect on the United States is generally people in the United States, based off of polling, they want the war to end. They don't like that it's happening. I don't think a lot of people really, just want war to be a thing. But there is also the general consensus of we want spending in general to go down because a lot of people don't like the idea of just going further and further into debt. One of the pollings that I saw was, floating the idea of, sending money back to taxpayers from funds that are being saved based off of cutting this thing or that thing. And it's almost 50-50 on, don't send us a check, put it towards the debt, or send us the check, that'll be a stimulus towards the economy because we're going to spend the money on things that, we didn't have that money for. It's kind of like getting the second tax return, which tax returns generally have stimulating purposes. As it stands for preppers, we want the cost of things to go down because then we can purchase more things to help us with prepping. And, we like to think it's a simple thing to say, we've got the food and the ammo and the stuff to be able to fight a war and we're going to be like Red Dawn. But I think a lot of preppers aren't ready for that sort of situation. I don't think we're going to be, fighting off Russians. I think we're going to be dealing with a cyber attack that makes the water undrinkable or things like that. But there have been campaign promises of getting this situation in Ukraine solved. As it currently stands, about 20% of Ukraine's current borders are occupied by Russia. It's mostly been a stalemate where one side gains a little bit of ground here, the other side pushes back there. And I would say for the last, year and a half, there hasn't been, super major developments, within, the war fighting aspect of it. But the U.S. has been sending, plenty of money that a lot of people think we could be spending somewhere else. And so at the start of the week, there was, attempts to, start having the discussion, and it was only between the U.S. and Russia. Well, the most recent article that I read is aides to the Ukrainian president are also talking with U.S. people and essentially trying to work out some sort of trade with rare earth minerals from Ukraine for more U.S. support. So, it's not just here we're going to give you a bunch of stuff. Let's make it happen. And it seems like stuff that will be sent, there's going to be a much stronger emphasis on, how are we going to spend those funds? Why does all this matter to us as preppers? When the world is functioning at more of a peaceful level, trade's flowing the way it needs to flow, we are at a more normal level. And that allows us to, set stuff aside for a rainy day. It also says, because, I can prep for myself all day long, and I can, feel confident in the stuff that I've put aside and say, I'm going to survive this long based off of these scenarios. I can also look at it and go, wow, we're spending, that much over our budget. I made a video talking about prepping while you're in debt. And I think there's healthy levels of debt. Like, I think you should be putting food and medical supplies and, all the different prepping things that we talk about on the channel and you watch other preppers talk about. You should be putting that stuff aside if you're still paying a mortgage. You don't have to start prepping when your house is paid off. And I say the same thing about your car. As long as you're making healthy payments and, by the time the car is paid off, it's still going to have some value. It's still going to have life in it. If it's one of those things where you're kind of paying minimums and your interest rate's a bit high, and by the time the car's paid off, you're basically going to be in another car note, maybe don't spend so much on prepping. Put it in towards getting the car paid off so that you can also have money set aside to get the next thing when your current ride takes a dump. When it comes to, other excessive spending, maybe you should, focus on that first. You shouldn't be spending hundreds of dollars a month on, ammo and rice and all this other stuff if you've got, $10,000 in credit card debt, and getting that paid off sooner rather than later will help you out in the long run towards adding supplies. If you're paying a minimum on a credit card, and so you're paying $100 a month for your cards, and you're putting $100 a month in towards your prepping stuff. You're adding $100 worth of prepping stuff, but it would probably help you out better to put that $200 towards your cards. That way you'll hit the point where the thing's paid off, and now you can put $150 towards your preps. You've increased that budget by 50%, and the other 50 can go somewhere for a rainy day. It's real simple for us to think on, our small scale stuff. It's a lot harder to think about a multi-trillion-dollar budget for millions and millions of people. This conflict that's been going on is money that, from a moral standpoint, I can see why we want to help other people out. We don't want, people being bullied, kind of thing. There are other standpoints where it's like, maybe we could have put that money towards, helping ourselves. You shouldn't try to help someone else. I think the best way to describe it's the same way they say on the plane. You put your mask on first so that you have oxygen. That way you can put your mask on your kids. And as a parent, it seems backwards. We want to help our kids as quickly as we can. But in the process of us trying to help our kid out, if we can't manage to get their mask on before we run out of air, then both of us are going to suffer. And even if we get their mask on as well, and we run out of air, maybe they can't help us. And so the best case scenario is make sure you've got your stuff together first, then you can help out the others around you. And that can go for your small scale prepping, that can go for your MAG in general, that goes all the way up to, the US level. So I guess that's the easiest way to not be super political about it. But, we can compare our spending with the way the spending's going at the big level, and you just add more zeros behind it, and they're kind of the same thing. If we can get this war stuff situated where best case scenario is not everyone's going to be happy. Between Russia, the US, Ukraine, other countries in Europe, individuals, no one is going to 100% like, the negotiations. And I don't think that was ever going to be a thing where every party is happy with the outcome. And as much as I think Russia might be a problem for the United States, I think China's more of an issue. So I think from a prepping standpoint, we get that resolved as quickly as we can. That way we can turn our attention to a more pressing issue. If we can go a long enough period of time of working on ourselves, we can go small scale again. I think 99% of preppers, if they were given a timetable of crap is going to hit the fan in a week or crap is going to hit the fan in 10 years, they would definitely take the 10-year model, because that gives, time to get ready. And that's kind of what we're going through. I see the things coming out of China and, the really bright tail lights in front of me. It's making my face all red. And, it's concerning. We need to make sure that we are as prepared as we can possibly be. And to do that, we need to take care of ourselves. And once we are in a comfortable position, then we can help take care of those around us and get them to a point where they can also take care of themselves. And if we can have more people that can take care of themselves, then generally, the outcome is going to be a whole heck of a lot better. So it's ongoing. It's not going to just disappear overnight, but we can look at what's going on in the big picture and add that to ourselves. I think it is a fairly good thing that we want to try to get our stuff figured out, and then we can help everyone else out. Or we can get our stuff figured out. We've got our rainy day fund, and then we can help other people out. It's not gonna, we're not gonna get there in a very short amount of time. It's gonna take some effort. It's gonna take, a bit of sacrificing, but I think we can all get there. So that's what these videos are for. I'm hoping that, because I've gotten there with certain aspects of prepping. I understand, I need X amount of food, and I feel comfortable in the amount that I have for, my 3-person family, to the point where there are other select family members and other friends that if something bad happens, I'm gonna be there for them as well. But you got to get there for yourself first. So let me know in the comment section what you think about that. Hopefully in 2025 we'll see some improvements there, and I'll catch you in the next one. Y'all have a good evening and stay warm.